He called me a gold digger, so I bought real gold. And when he went broke, guess who he came begging to? If you've ever been judged unfairly or doubted by someone you love, you'll understand this story. Let me take you through what happened. And if it connects with you, I'd love if you stayed till the end. Maybe hit like or subscribe. Let's begin. I met Dean at an open house I was showing. I work in real estate. Nothing fancy, but I've built my career from the ground up. Dean walked in wearing confidence like a suit. Tall, clean-cut, easy smile. He asked questions about the property, but kept looking at me like he already knew me. He asked me out before he left, said I had boss energy, and he liked that. Our first few weeks felt like something out of a movie. He was attentive, charming, always planning little dates or surprises. He said he worked in tech, and had some side hustles too. He talked big dreams, late nights, early mornings. It was attractive, a man with ambition. We talked for hours, laughed over wine, shared playlists. I hadn't connected with someone like this in years. I wasn't flashy, but I had nice things. My car? Paid off. My bags? Gifts to myself after hitting sales targets. My apartment? Mine. But sometimes, when I talked about work wins or deals closing, Dean would raise an eyebrow, like he didn't fully believe me. Once, after I mentioned a bonus I got, he laughed and said, "Well, yeah, you've always been good at attracting rich energy." I brushed it off. Maybe it was a compliment? One night, over dinner, he asked if I'd ever dated someone broke. I joked, "I've dated worse than broke." He grinned and said, "So you do date up?" I froze for a second. "What do you mean?" I asked. He laughed. "Nothing, just that you probably go for guys who have their stuff together. Stability's attractive, right?" I smiled, but something in my chest tightened. I started noticing more of those moments. He'd point out my bag and say, "That's cute. Bet some guy spoiled you with that." Or he'd glance at my car and say, "That's not a starter car, huh?" Always in a joking tone. But too many jokes like that stopped being funny. Still, I kept going. Because I liked him. Because we had chemistry. Because part of me wanted to believe he didn't mean it like that. But I was wrong. Things moved fast with Dean. Within a few months, we were spending almost every day together. He met my parents over dinner at my place. My dad grilled him a bit, but Dean handled it well. My mom liked how polite he was. "He's charming," she whispered to me in the kitchen. I agreed, even though I'd started to notice little cracks in that charm. We took a trip to Miami together. It was the first time we really traveled as a couple. At first, it was fun, beach days, late-night walks, room service. But then Dean started acting different. One afternoon, as I was getting ready for dinner, he looked at my heels and said, "You sure know how to look expensive." I laughed it off, but then he added, "Must be nice living that high-end life. Bet your exes really treated you." That one stung. He started asking questions that didn't feel like real questions. How much did that bag cost? Or did you always have money, or did it come with the job? Once, he saw me texting a client and joked, "Careful, don't flirt too much. Wouldn't want to scare off your cash cows." Still, I told myself maybe he was just insecure. Maybe he didn't mean it. I tried to focus on the good. The nights we'd talk about the future, the way he'd bring me coffee in the mornings, the jokes we shared. I thought if I just showed him I was real, that I wasn't about money, he'd relax. Eventually, we moved in together. I invited him into my space, my life. That's when things shifted more. He started getting annoyed when I stayed late at work. He didn't like when I bought new clothes. "Why do you need another pair of heels?" I asked. "Trying to impress someone?" He even once said, "You dress like someone trying to get picked up. You don't need to do that anymore." That was the first time I really felt something in me pull back. Our first real argument happened after I came home late from closing a deal. He was waiting for me on the couch. No hello, just a cold stare. "Do you even like me?" he asked. "Or do you just like the lifestyle?" I stood there frozen. "What are you talking about? You like the nice places, the gifts, the look of being with a successful guy. That's what this is about, right?" I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just walked to the bedroom and shut the door. I had nothing to say. Not yet. It was a Saturday afternoon when everything changed. Dean had invited a couple of his old friends over to watch the game. I was in the kitchen making snacks, nothing fancy, just wings and chips. And I wasn't really paying attention to their conversation. They were loud, laughing, a bit tipsy already. I was about to walk in to hand them drinks when I heard my name. "Lila," one of his friends said, chuckling. "Man, she's got that boss babe look. You sure she's not running you?" Dean laughed, a little too hard. "Please. She's a gold digger, bro. She likes the lifestyle. The car, the restaurants, the place. She'll leave the second the money dries up. I'm just having fun with it." There was silence in my chest, like something had dropped and cracked inside me. I stood there, frozen, holding a tray of glasses, my hands suddenly trembling. My face felt hot. I backed up slowly, careful not to make a sound, and went upstairs. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at nothing. He thinks I'm a gold digger? After everything? After inviting him into my home, sharing my world? I didn't cry. Not right away. Just sat there, letting the words roll around in my head. It didn't matter that I'd paid for our last vacation, or that most of the nice things we had were because of my job, or that I had never, not once, asked him for anything. He never really saw me. That's what hurt the most. When the guys finally left, and he came upstairs, I was lying in bed pretending to nap. He kissed my forehead like nothing happened, like he hadn't just said those words about me. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I just waited for him to fall asleep next to me that night. And then I cried silently, facing the wall. I didn't confront him. Not then. I didn't scream, or pack a bag, or storm out like in the movies. Instead, I started planning. The next morning, I called my best friend Carmen. She's the one person I trust with everything. We met for brunch. As soon as she saw my face, she knew something was wrong. I told her everything, from the jokes to the comment he made during the game. She sat there quietly, then said, "You need to play this smart. No drama. Just protect yourself." That's exactly what I decided to do. I would protect myself. Not with words, not with shouting, but with action. The next few weeks, I became someone else. Or maybe I just became smarter, quieter, more careful. Dean had no idea what was coming. He'd still kiss my cheek in the mornings, make comments about how lucky he was, or show off our lifestyle to his friends like it was his doing. I smiled. I laughed. I played my part. But inside, I was done. Carmen helped me set everything up. She knew a financial advisor through her work, and we met discreetly. I started putting my money into separate accounts, all in my name only. I pulled out of the joint account Dean and I had set up for bills, quietly moved my savings, canceled the shared credit card. Bit by bit, I separated my life from him. I also started buying gold. Not jewelry, actual gold bars and coins, physical assets. I stored them in a safe deposit box only I had access to. It felt symbolic in a way. He called me a gold digger? Fine. I'd own gold, real gold, and keep it far away from him. I also had the title for my car rechecked and made sure the condo we lived in, which I owned, was fully secured under my name. No one could claim a piece of it, especially not him. All the while, Dean was too busy basking in the illusion. He thought he had everything under control. He'd boast about his good life, talk about future plans that always revolved around him. Sometimes he'd say, "We're a power couple," and I'd just nod thinking, "You have no idea how temporary this is." He didn't notice how I stopped sharing things, how I kept my phone close, how I locked the drawer with my financial document. He didn't even ask. At night, I'd lie awake next to him, thinking about how someone can sleep so soundly beside a person they don't truly respect. But I didn't cry anymore. I wasn't angry. I was focused. Every smile I gave him was strategy. Every kiss, a step closer to freedom. I wasn't going to break things with drama. I wasn't going to fight for an apology. When I walked away, it would be with everything that was mine, and nothing left for him to take. It happened during a birthday dinner. One of our friends, Jules, had invited a group of us to celebrate at this trendy rooftop restaurant downtown. It was a warm evening, string lights above us, music playing softly in the background. Everyone was dressed nice, laughing, sipping cocktails. For once, I let myself relax. I was wearing a dress I loved, deep green, silky, nothing too flashy. But Dean's eyes narrowed when he saw me step out of the bedroom earlier that evening. "You trying to make a statement tonight?" I brushed it off. "It's a nice dinner. I just want to look good." He smirked. "You always do when there's an audience." I should have known. At the restaurant, everything seemed fine at first. Dean was charming, cracking jokes, being the guy everyone liked. But the more he drank, the more careless he became. He started talking about money, in that loud, fake humble way people do when they want everyone to know they're doing well. Someone joked about splitting the bill, and Dean laughed. "Please. I pay for everything anyway." Lila wouldn't hang around if I didn't. The table went quiet. I felt everyone glance at me, awkward smiles, eyes darting. I stared at him. My chest was burning. "Excuse me?" I said, trying to keep my voice steady. He grinned like it was all a joke. "Come on, babe. I'm just saying, some girls love the lifestyle more than the guy. No harm in that." And then, in front of everyone, he said it. "Let's be real. You love the money. You're not exactly here for my charming personality, are you? Gold digger vibes, huh?" People laughed nervously. One of our friends muttered, "Dude, not cool." I didn't say a word. Not then. I just sat there, stunned, staring at the man who thought humiliating me in public was funny. I didn't finish my drink. I didn't wait for dessert. I went home alone. Took a cab. Quiet. Calm. Back at the apartment, I walked straight to my desk and pulled out the letter I had written 2 weeks ago, the one Carmen told me to write for this exact moment. I placed it on the kitchen counter. No yelling. No texts. No goodbye kiss. By the time Dean stumbled in hours later, I was gone. I blocked his number. Deleted him off everything. When he tried calling from another line, I didn't answer. When he emailed, I marked it as spam. He didn't deserve my voice anymore. The first few weeks after I left felt like stepping into silence. No more sarcastic comments, no more walking on eggshells. Just space, quiet, clean space. I stayed with Carmen at first, in her cozy guest room with soft blankets and tea that tasted like safety. I cried a little, slept a lot, but mostly I breathed. Then I got to work. I focused on my business again, showing properties, closing deals, building relationships. Without the emotional drain of Dean, everything felt lighter. I started waking up early, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. I was excited again. Clients noticed. Referrals came in. My numbers went up. I bought another small property to flip. Then another. Everything I touched started to move forward. The gold I'd bought? It was growing in value. Slowly, steadily. Not just in numbers, but in meaning. Every time I checked the safe deposit box, I smiled. I wasn't just surviving. I was thriving with real assets, real control, and no one to dim the light I'd worked so hard to build. Still, the healing wasn't just about work or money. I started therapy. At first, I didn't even know what to say. I sat there fidgeting, feeling silly. But week after week, it helped. I began to understand how much I had tolerated, how often I had let little jabs slide because I wanted to keep the peace. My therapist encouraged me to start journaling. So I did. Just 10 minutes a day. At first, it was messy, angry, confused, sad. Then slowly it shifted. I began writing about what I liked about myself, what I deserved, what I would never accept again. I wasn't rebuilding my life out of revenge. I wasn't trying to prove anything. I was just creating a space where I could be fully me, strong, soft, smart, and free. The silence that once felt so empty now felt peaceful. I filled it with good music, long walks, slow mornings, and real laughter. And every day that passed without Dean's voice was another reminder of the strength I had found in myself. I wasn't just okay. I was better, stronger, clearer, and finally whole. It was about 6 months after I'd walked away when I heard the first whispers. A former mutual friend messaged me on Instagram, totally out of the blue. "Hey, not sure if you've heard, but Dean's not doing so great." I didn't reply. I didn't even open the message, but curiosity crept in just a little. A few days later, Carmen filled me in. She'd run into someone from Dean's circle at a networking event. Apparently, his tech startup, the one he always bragged about, had completely flopped. Investors pulled out. There were rumors of mismanaged funds, failed partnerships, and bad spending habits. His car was gone. The condo he used to show off wasn't even in his name. It was a rental he could no longer afford. Turns out, all the confidence and swagger had been built on sand. I felt nothing at first. Just a quiet, strange awareness. Not joy, not pity. Just recognition that the truth always shows itself eventually. A few more weeks passed. I was working late one evening, catching up on emails in my home office when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Normally, I wouldn't have opened it, but something made me look. The message was simple. "Hey, it's Dean. I could really use some help right now." I stared at the screen. My heart didn't race. My stomach didn't twist. I just sat there, still, rereading the words. I hadn't heard from him since the night I left. He hadn't apologized, hadn't checked in. Nothing. And now, suddenly, I was the one he thought of, when he was down. Not when he was proud. Not when he was happy. When he was broke. I didn't respond right away. I waited. Later that night, I showed the message to Carmen. She looked at me with a smirk. "So," she said, "gold digger to the rescue?" We laughed. A real deep laugh. But inside I knew. This was the moment. Not to hurt him. Not to gloat. But to choose myself again. I didn't delete the message. I didn't block him. Not yet. I decided to reply, just once. Calm. Clear. Final. "Hi, Dean. I hope you find what you're looking for. But I'm not the person you can ask anymore. No anger. No guilt. No second chances." He read it within minutes. Never responded. And that silence? That was karma, doing exactly what it needed to do. A week after his message, Dean sent another one. This time, he asked if we could meet. Said he just wanted to talk, clear the air. Something about how things ended weird, and how he'd grown a lot since then. I thought about ignoring it, but part of me wanted to see his face. Not out of emotion, just closure. I wasn't hurt anymore. I was whole now, and I wanted to hear him speak, knowing he no longer had power over me. We met at a small cafe, not far from where we used to live. I got there early, ordered my coffee, and waited. When he walked in, I barely recognized him. Same face, but smaller somehow. Less sure. He looked tired, like the world had stopped clapping for him, and he didn't know what to do without the applause. "Hey," he said, sliding into the seat across from me. "Hi," I replied calm. He smiled awkwardly, then jumped right in. "Look, I know I messed up. I said things I shouldn't have. I've been thinking about it a lot." I nodded but didn't say anything. I let him talk. He went on about how rough things had been, how his business had tanked, how people turned their backs on him, how he was trying to rebuild, but needed just a little help to get back on track. Then came the line I was waiting for. I thought maybe you could lend me something. Just a little. I know you've got your stuff together. You were always good with money. I looked at him, not angry, not smug, just steady. You're right, I said. I did buy gold. I've invested well. I'm doing great. His eyes lit up slightly, like hope had sparked. Then I leaned in just a little and added, but I don't lend to gold diggers. His face froze. No comeback. No clever line. Just silence. I stood up, placed a 5 on the table for my coffee, and grabbed my bag. You take care, Dean, I said softly. I really do hope you figure it out. And I walked out. No drama. No looking back. The air outside felt lighter. Not because I'd won, but because I didn't care about winning anymore. I had peace. And that was worth more than anything he could have ever given me. Looking back now, I can't believe how far I've come. Not just in my career, not just in finances, but in how I see myself, and how I protect that version of me. For a long time, I didn't even realize how much I was bending to fit into someone else's idea of who I should be. I let little comments slide, gave people the benefit of the doubt when they didn't deserve it, and dimmed parts of myself to avoid being too much. Too successful, too confident, too independent. But the truth is, I wasn't too much. I was just around people who were too small to handle me. Dean didn't break me. If anything, he revealed the cracks I had been ignoring, the areas where I still doubted my own worth. And once I saw them, I started sealing them up for good. He called me a gold digger. That word haunted me for a while, even after I left. I kept thinking, did I do something to make him think that? Did I come off that way? It took time, journaling, therapy, long walks with myself, but I finally understood. I wasn't a gold digger. I was the gold. I was the value, the strength, the thing that made life shine. I had worked for everything I had. I built it piece by piece, through long nights and early mornings, through deals that fell through and deals that changed my life. Nothing was handed to me, and yet I had allowed someone to talk to me like I was lucky to be chosen, like I was borrowing his shine when, in reality, he had been basking in mine. Now, I don't explain my worth. I don't shrink to make anyone more comfortable. I don't stay quiet when something feels wrong. I've learned how to set boundaries and hold them. I've learned to trust my gut, not just when it screams, but when it whispers. I've learned that love without respect isn't love at all, and that real peace feels like still water, not chaos you're trying to justify. I don't regret the experience. It taught me everything I needed to know, about who I am, about who I'm not, and about who I'll never allow back into my life. So now, when people ask me how I bounced back, I tell them, I didn't bounce. I built. I built myself up with truth, with grit, and with a heart that refuses to be silenced. And that, to me, is the real gold. So that's my story, from the moment I fell for someone who didn't see my worth, to the moment I walked away and built a life he could never touch. It wasn't an easy journey. There were moments I doubted myself, moments I felt small, confused, or even guilty for leaving. But now, standing on the other side, I'm thankful for all of it. Yes, even the hurt, because it pushed me. It cracked me open in a way that made me look at who I really was. Not just the woman in a relationship, but the woman beyond that. The builder. The fighter, the one who didn't fold under judgment, but rose above it with quiet, unstoppable strength. To anyone listening who has been called names, who's been made to feel like their value depends on someone else's opinion, please hear me. It doesn't. You don't owe anyone your silence just to keep their comfort. You don't have to stay small to protect someone else's ego. And you definitely don't have to prove your worth to someone who's too insecure to see it in the first place. Emotional abuse doesn't always show up as shouting or slamming doors. Sometimes it's the little things, the jokes, the digs, the way someone twists your words or makes you feel crazy for reacting. Gaslighting is real, and it's damaging. But the beautiful part? You can heal. You can reclaim every part of yourself they tried to tear down. And when you do, when you stop trying to explain yourself to people who never cared to listen, that's when real peace begins. In the end, I didn't get revenge. I didn't need to. I got clarity. I got freedom. I got to live life on my terms. And honestly, the most powerful revenge isn't revenge at all. It's building a life they can't touch. Thank you for sticking with me through this. If any part of this story resonated with you or reminded you of something you've gone through, know that you're not alone. You're stronger than you think, and you're worth everything they tried to convince you you weren't. Take care of your heart. Protect your peace. And most importantly, never forget who you are. What about you? Do you think I made the right choice by walking away, or should I have given him another chance? I'd really like to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if stories like this speak to you, make sure to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next.